Okay, so picture this. A young boy, he's maybe 9 years old, run around, having fun with his Airedale, and then bam, this powerful dog just appears and, well, the term uses it, sacked him. Like bowled him right over. It's this one single moment, But it leaves this huge mark, changes his whole life, really, and kicks off this incredible legacy in the dog world. How does something like that happen? Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into the fascinating world of American Pit Bull Terriers, and we're doing it through the lens of someone super influential, though maybe not always the loudest voice in the room, Howard HEINZL. We've got some great sources lined up for you. There are excerpts from Howard HEINZL, architect of the American Pit Bull Terrier, which is fantastic, and also this really unique piece. It's a first-person reflection called Tales from a Dogman, HEINZL's Reflections. So this stuff gives us this amazing window into his life, his thinking, his whole world, really, our mission today. To unpack the story of Howard HEINZL, this sort of silent architect, we'll dig into the surprising facts, the personal stories, and the huge impact he had on the breed. And this isn't just about dogs, It's about passion, serious dedication, and chasing an ideal.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about HEINZL, I think, is that he wasn't just a breeder. He was more like a living historian, almost a philosopher of the breed. These sources, they let us see not just what he did, but why he did it. It gives you this rare look inside the head of a real dog man from that time.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. Chicago, April 30th, 1914. That's when Howard HEINZL was born. He grew up on the South Side, and from the sounds of it, it was a pretty rough and tumble place. Street football games turning into actual fights, that sort of thing.
Right, a tough environment.
Definitely shaped him, you'd think. And then, 1923, he's 9 years old. That's when that pivotal moment happens. Running with his Airedale, and this pit bull just sacks him, knocks him down. That encounter, it clearly stuck with him.
And you have to remember Chicago back then, the 20s and 30s, it was apparently a real hotbed of dogmen. You had figures like Red Considine, the Farmer Brothers, Rip Ryan. These were known names. So that whole environment, that intense dog scene, it really set the stage for HEINZL's first steps. It was the world he came up in.
Right, he was immersed in it from early on. And his first dog, it was a Brindle bitch named June. No papers. Which you mentioned wasn't that unusual for the time.
Not at all. The focus was often more on the dog itself, its qualities, rather than a piece of paper, especially in those circles.
Okay, so he starts in this intense Chicago scene, but then things really shift. Fast forward to 1939, HEINZL makes a huge move. He packs up and heads to Arizona, and he takes some serious dogs with him. 2 pure Colby females, Penny and Pooch, and another one, Monkey, who was a daughter of Bruce and Jerry.
And this move, you really can't overstate its significance. At that point, Arizona had basically no active APBT breeders, none. So HEINZL wasn't just moving, he was basically planting the flag for the breed in that state. A total pioneer.
Wow, okay, so he's breaking new ground. And he arrives with a very specific philosophy, right? He had the saying, the only benefits are collected twice a day. What did he really mean by that?
It meant his motivation wasn't money. It was about the dogs themselves. The benefit was seeing them, caring for them, morning and night, pure passion.
So completely driven by dedication, not profit.
Exactly. And his yard, his kennel in Arizona, it quickly got this reputation. People knew his dogs for their athletic structure, their solid, stable temperaments, and this legendary resistance, this toughness.
That philosophy sounds absolutely core to who he was.
It really was. It speaks volumes about his dedication to the breed's integrity. He wasn't chasing fads or trying to make a quick buck. He was focused on preserving and improving the core qualities, which is absolutely crucial for understanding why his influence lasted. It was about the long game.
And he wasn't just working in isolation out there in Arizona, right? He stayed connected. He kept up correspondence with the big names, like John P. Colby. Started writing to him way back in the 1930s. He even visited Colby back east in 36. Saw some private matches, these turn-ups, because of the strict laws in Massachusetts at the time.
Right, the blue laws made public events difficult, so these were more informal, private showings of the dog's abilities.
And then there was Earl Tudor, another giant of the breed. He struck up a close friendship with him starting around 1942.
Oh yeah, the Tudor connection is huge. There's this incredible quote from Tudor himself. He said, HEINZL is doing the same thing as Colby. I ran out of dogs and he gave me the old Debo. Now all I have in my yard are Debo dogs.
Wow. That's a massive endorsement.
It's huge. It basically cemented HEINZL's reputation, made him known as this guardian of the crucial Debo bloodline. It showed he was one of the very few people actively preserving that original APBT essence. Which makes you wonder, how rare was that kind of commitment back then, focusing so intently on one vital line?
That's a really interesting point. It suggests he had this incredible foresight, didn't he? Not just breeding good dogs, but preserving specific important genetic history.
Exactly. He saw the long-term value in those foundational lines, like Debo. While maybe others were chasing the next big thing, HEINZL was building something lasting, something solid, by protecting those core genetics, like a living gene bank.
So let's talk about the dogs themselves. What came out of all this dedication? HEINZL bred some legendary animals. Dutchess, for example. She was a daughter of Patsy, sister to Bambi, considered one of his best females. And Old Pete, brother of Colby's Congo, and he sired Musty.
Yeah, key dogs. Foundational animals.
And the list goes on, right? These Arizona aces, as they became known. Names like Musty, Patch, Clancy, Brindy, Gringo, Polly, Sadie, Speck, Bimmer. I mean, the list is long.
A whole roster.
Yeah, Ollie, Melly, Raquel, Ajax, Fancy, Twiggy, Chief, Goldie. All these dogs built that reputation. And they weren't just known locally. They kept appearing in the specialized dog publications back then, recognized for both performance and their physical structure, their conformation.
Which speaks to the consistency he achieved. And his breeding philosophy, it was really based on these 3 genetic pillars, as he called them.
Do you remember those?
So first, Colby blood. He valued that for structure, temperament, and longevity. Good, solid dogs that lasted. Second, Tudor blood. That brought the gameness, that unstoppable spirit, and incredible resistance. And third, Corvino blood, for the mouth, the biting style, and power, the drive, and what he called rustic qualities, that sort of hardy, natural toughness.
So he's pulling specific traits from specific lines. How did he combine them?
Very carefully. He used line breeding, some inbreeding, and also selective outcrosses, but always sticking to a really clear standard. He was ruthless about only keeping the absolute best examples for breeding. Culling was a big part of it.
And the result? These HEINZL dogs had distinct characteristics.
Yeah.
You saw that athletic conformation, the structured pedigrees behind them, that wrestling ability they were known for, amazing lung resistance, and a really balanced temperament. You knew a HEINZL dog.
Consistency was key.
But HEINZL wasn't just about the dogs, was he? He had other dimensions. He was a rider, loved horses, a real horseman as well as a dogman.
Right, a multifaceted guy.
And his daily routine with the dogs, it just shows this incredible level of commitment. He'd spend like up to 2 hours in his tack room, in Adobe tack room, no less, mixing personalized food for each dog. Apparently he'd do this while watching talk shows.
That's amazing. That level of detail, I mean, it obviously helped the dog's condition, but it also says something about his whole approach. Excellence wasn't just in the breeding, it was in every single aspect of care. It showed he was a true caretaker, not just a breeder, deeply invested.
And generous too, right? He wasn't hoarding his knowledge or his dogs.
Not at all. He was known as this meticulous puppy feeder, but he'd often give dogs away free of charge. The condition was that the new owner had to genuinely value the dog, understand its worth beyond money.
So the preservation of the breed, the knowledge, that was more important than profit.
Absolutely. That belief shines through again and again.
Okay, now this is really cool. We get to hear from HEINZL, in his own words, through his Tales from a Dogman. It's like stepping back in time. He starts off by mentioning getting his first pit bull at 9, 31 years before he wrote this piece. And he jokes, all this proves is that I'm getting older. You can almost hear him saying it.
A bit of dry wit there.
Yeah. And he talks about other dogmen he knew. Charlie Spencer, for instance. Apparently, Spencer became the hottest dog man around Arizona in just 4 years, mainly thanks to his dog Toby. Then there was Ken Barney, who beat Spencer and was known for being ready to match a dog anytime.
And HEINZL points out something interesting. Both Spencer's Toby and Barney's dog were actually bred by Ed Richardson. And HEINZL notes that Richardson learned the hard way, apparently, to stick to his own lines after losing with dogs he'd bought elsewhere. A cautionary tale.
He definitely had insights into people, too.
Oh, yeah. He tells this great story about Clarence Hager. Hager's wife was apparently just as big a fan as he was. And Hager, when he lost, he took it with incredible grace. He'd shake the winner's hand and thank them for, quote, helping cull his kennel and cut his feed bill.
Wow. That's some perspective.
Right. HEINZL contrasts that with some old-timers at the game who would pout. It really makes you think, what kind of character, what kind of ethics were valued in that world back then? Sportsmanship clearly mattered.
He had immense respect for John P. Colby, called him the tops as a breeder, period. He talked about seeing those turn-ups at Colby's place back in 35 or 36, and he declared they were better than half the matches I have ever seen in my life. High praise.
Coming from HEINZL, that means a lot.
He even owned 3 Colby dogs he called Dead Game: Sport, Buddy, and Hobo.
dogs that just wouldn't quit.
The ultimate compliment in that world.
But he wasn't afraid to share his own humbling moments either, like the Chuck Doyle story. This was back in Chicago, 1933. Doyle was just a rookie, and Doyle's dog just dominated HEINZL's dog, Sandy. Waved Sandy around like a flag, HEINZL wrote. Match over in 20 minutes. HEINZL and his partner, Bruce Johnson, were just plain defeated. A tough lesson.
Humbling indeed. But it shows his honesty. And speaking of mastery, his view on Earl Tudor. He was absolutely convinced Tudor was in a class by himself as a dog fighter, unmatched.
He mentioned that incredible run, right? Tudor and Art Nemechek winning 23 UKC fights in a single month.
Yeah. HEINZL says that's more than many guys win in a lifetime. Just astonishing consistency and skill.
Okay.
He also brings up Tudor's challenge in Bloodlines magazine, putting up $1,000, daring anyone to beat his 3 dogs. Real confidence.
And he didn't just respect Tudor, but his wife too.
Right, Flo Tudor. He called her a good judge of pit dogs in her own right, and also, charmingly, probably the world's best cook. Gives you a nice picture of their partnership.
He also passed on wisdom from others, like George Armitage. Armitage's philosophy was, a match well made was half won. Careful selection of opponents was key.
Strategy matters. Armitage didn't fight a lot of dogs, but he matched them smart.
And Armitage thought Clark's Tramp, a pure Colby dog, was the best ever.
Interesting perspective.
HEINZL definitely had strong opinions on breeding practices. That quote about color, when I start breeding for color, I'll sure call them Stafford sires because that's all they will be in a couple of generations. Pretty blunt.
Very blunt. Function over fashion, clearly. And this connects to another point he made, which really challenges assumptions. He argued that stud dog ads should focus on the records of the offspring, not just the stud's own record, because, as he pointed out, not all great performers make great sires. He used Braddock and Billy Sunday as examples.
So it's about proven production ability.
Exactly. How does that focus on proven progeny stack up against how things are often done, even now, where maybe looks or one big win get more attention than consistent results from offspring? It's a really valid point.
He tells this detailed story about one of his own dogs, Kaio, an 8-year-old, 40-pound Colby dog. Kaio sired Adams Botcher, who won a grueling 1-hour, 40-minute match down in Mexico, held one nose hold for 30 minutes straight.
Incredible tenacity.
But HEINZL also shares this story about Kaio where he messed up. It's a conditioning lesson. Before a match, he gave Kaio Knox gelatin, thinking it would give him an added push. Instead, the dog started choking, coughing up phlegm during the match. HEINZL totally blamed himself for the poor conditioning.
Oh, wow. A handler's nightmare.
Totally. But here's the thing. Despite being poorly conditioned, Kaio showed incredible heart. HEINZL wrote he didn't lay down, sit down, or tuck his head in the corner like a cur usually does. He kept trying. Even after being counted out, Kaio staggered towards the other dog, just pure will.
That Kaio story is powerful. It perfectly illustrates the difference between physical shape and that inherent gameness. Even when HEINZL himself admitted the conditioning was bad, Kaio's spirit, his heart, just wouldn't quit. It proves HEINZL's point. A lesser dog than Kaio would have curled up and died. That's the essence of what they valued in a true APBT, that unshakable spirit.
And Kaio passed that on. His offspring included Ken Barney Sadie, Stuart Adams Oggs, Honest John, General, and Botcher, and HEINZL's own son of Kaio, named Colonel.
A strong legacy from Game Dog.
Reflecting on the dogs that didn't make the cut, the curs, HEINZL had this pragmatic view. He said, I'm sure we all get them, and it makes those scarce game ones worth all the more, acknowledging the difficulty.
Keeps it real. Breeding isn't always success.
And right at the end of his reflections, you see his enduring commitment. After 30 years, he says the job gets a little old after 30 years, but I guess I'll have him 30 more if I live that long. Just amazing dedication.
Wow. All in.
Howard HEINZL passed away on October 28, 1989, at home in Arizona. But his impact, as we've seen, didn't end there.
No way. His legacy is alive and well. His bloodline runs through hundreds, maybe thousands of bulldogs today. It's been preserved by really dedicated breeders, people like Dwight Stubbs, Villa Liberty Kennels, Ruben Valenzuela. They've carried the torch. Someone described him perfectly as una enciclopedia viviente de pedigrees y ética dogmen, a living encyclopedia of pedigrees and dogmen ethics. It wasn't just the knowledge, it was his principles.
And you can still find that HEINZL line quite clearly today. Dogs like Arizona Pete, who is a brother to Tudor's Debo. There's even a dog named Mrs. HEINZL carrying 100% HEINZL genetics.
That's incredible preservation.
And think of all those other influential dogs we mentioned. Ollie, Boomer, Musty, Gringo, Fancy, Twiggy, Chief. Their genetics are still out there, influencing the breed.
And it goes beyond just the pure HEINZL line, too. His blood has been woven into crosses with so many other significant lines. You know, Hemphill, Kinnard, Sorrells, Carver, Fonseca, Valenzuela, Stubbs, Patrick. The list goes on. It just shows how foundational his genetic contributions really were. They spread far and wide, strengthening the breed overall.
So when you pull it all together, what's the takeaway here? Howard HEINZL's story. It feels like this powerful reminder, doesn't it? That real passion, that quiet, persistent dedication, even when you're not shouting the loudest. It can leave this truly lasting mark. It's been a real deep dive into the heart of a breed, sure, but also very much into the heart of one incredibly dedicated man.
Yeah, and if you zoom out a bit, HEINZL's story, it's more than just dog breeding, isn't it? It's about preserving something important. Genetic integrity, yes, but also a whole set of ideals. It makes you wonder, in our world today, so often driven by fast trends, quick results, maybe even quick profits, what can we learn from someone like HEINZL, this silent architect who built this incredible legacy, one dog at a time, driven purely by passion, not money? What parts of our own lives, our own work or passions, could maybe benefit from that kind of long-term, principled, deeply dedicated approach? Something to think about.